Okay, Asmir, your box has arrived, so I'm going to get you opened up and have a look at what you've sent. Two crystals and two watches. Very cool. All right. A couple of early speed timers. Very nice. Okay. All right. Well, let's start with the Pepsi. I mean the Coke. Let's put this one over here. Okay. So we have a 1970, January 70, early 70. 6139. This is the 6030 JDM SpeedTimer. Just make sure everything's able to be moved here. Okay, so this is a very nice watch. We've got what looks to be very original hands, dial. Everything's consistent. You've got a good triangle on your inner bezel, which turns well. You get a pretty nice. I mean, this is a really nice ring here. Tacky ring is nice. You got one dink right here. Notch case, of course. Needs a good clean, but otherwise everything is there. You got your springs intact. Let's see. Make sure we're fully through. This very stiff crown, but that's probably just an issue of the seal. Let's go ahead and reset you. Ooh, where are we? Are we running? No, there we go. Okay. Good alignment on the hands. That's nice to see. Yeah. Just an overall nice watch. You've got it on an Uncle Seiko bracelet here, which is cool. Tapered H-link. I think Uncle Seiko actually makes a bracelet like this now for these, which is cool to see. Alright. Overall, it looks very original. We can go through day and date quick changes as it should. Cosmetically, it's in very nice shape. You've got a very clean case back. There's no real tooling marks. Not sure what the service history is, but we will open her up and have a look. All right. Well, that's it for the cosmetic on this one. Let's go ahead and get it opened up and just have a quick look at the movement, see where it stands, and then we'll move on to your blue early speed timer. Very cool. Okay, we're back. Okay, Asmir, we are back with your case back ready to come off. So I don't see any marks that look like service. It's a really nice, clean interior. The movement looks crisp and clean, which is nice to see. Brushing is still quite good. No real water, as you can see. 6138 or 6139A movement, 21 joules, which is typical for these JDM style. You have a little bit of wear here on your chronograph bridge due to just the way that the ball bearing framework can lend this to wobble a bit. There's not a whole lot to do about that on these. I don't have any replacement A movement frameworks, but it's running. Your hairspring looks like it's been messed with a bit, but I'm not sure if that's right. Let's just have a quick look. No, it looks okay. Your terminal curve here looked a little bit out of whack. Yeah, we'll have to look at that pretty closely. The spacing between the coils has to be very uniform, and if it's not, you can run into issues here. And yours looks like it's a little bit close on this side, so I may have to take a second look at that to get it running right. Let's go ahead and put some power in the mainspring. Let's check your mainspring arbor. And get some wobble. Not unexpected. Okay, pretty tight there at the end. Okay, well, that's all right. All right, let's put it on the time grapher and see what kind of signal we get. We'll be right back. Okay, well, as I kind of suspected, you've got some signal here that's a little bit messy. This is, this is indicative of a watch that definitely needs service. I mean, this amplitude is the sort of telltale about how efficiently the power is being moved through the watch, and that has to do with how much friction it encounters as it's on its way to the balance and hairspring. And of course, components have probably been sitting without lubrication, or the lubrication has dried up and become somewhat more semi-solid over time. The fact that your signal is a bit messy, that I think is reflected here in by the nature of the look of the hairspring. Remember, I said that the hairspring was a little bit out of sort, and that to me oftentimes manifests as this signal wandering a bit, as it seems to be doing, and also the fact that it's a little bit messy in the sense that it's not a set of straight lines or straight dots. This is just adjustment, being out of rate and beat error. Those are two things we can adjust. But the quality of this signal and the value of that amplitude are the things we're chasing in the service. So I think this watch is going to have some needs, and we'll definitely need some real looking into, but that's what it's here for. It's here to get better, and we'll get it there. I don't foresee any real issue. It may be some extra time with your hairspring trying to get that right, but otherwise I think we're in good. We're at a starting point. I wouldn't want to say it's a great one, but it's where we're starting, and we'll definitely work to get these numbers to within the specifications of the watch. Okay, so let's head back to the bench. Okay, so we have our work to do on this one, and we'll get there. So I'm going to put this one aside and move on to your blue SpeedTimer. So this is a great watch. These I have one of these. It's a little bit different than yours. Yours is a little bit later than where mine is. This is a 6000. This is from later part of '69, so July of '69. Really cool watch. These are fun. I like these a lot. They just have that cool look. These transitioned in a weird way. They went from this this blue with the well, there's lots of details about the transitions on these from the earlies to the laters. It's a really fine watch. I think this is an aftermarket bracelet. I have one of these as well. And they are very true in terms of style to the original. It's pretty cool. So let's give a good look at your watch. Certainly your crystal, and you've sent crystals to be used for these, which is good. Your hands and your dial have pretty good lume. I mean, it's certainly, it's a little bit sugary. It looks a little bit like it's had a little tiny bit of moisture in there, but not enough to make the indicate, you know, the actual blackening. That hasn't happened, which is good. Your sweep has been replaced, and that may have been Seiko service. These are supposed to have a 2-part sweep, so that's definitely been changed. Give it a reset, and they did an okay job. The issue is with these hands, they I'm sorry, I'm a little bit off to the side here. So you should have a 2-part sweep that has a button in the middle, sort of a metal cap here at the top of the sweep hand in the center where it goes to the post. The other thing is that if that is not keyed directly to the post, this, you know, where it actually goes onto the part of the movement that sticks out through the hands, the center chronograph wheel, those are set at the moment you push it on, and it's locked because there's a lot of torque that goes into resetting, and so they have it so it's, you know, a one-shot deal. And you know, it's a little bit just to the left of 0, you know, which is okay, but there's not a whole lot I can do to get it back. That's the long and short of all of this, is that where it is where it is, and that's just the way it's going to be. Your other hand has had a little bit of bending. It's got a slight deflection on the minute recording hand where it was taken off. I'm hesitant to try and put that flat simply because it can chip the paint, so I'm going to do my best to preserve it. You got a couple little marks on your dial here and here. Maybe a little bit of material that's been worn around your minute recording register, but you know, I point these out simply so that you and I both know where we are at the beginning, not to denigrate the watch, which is beautiful. These have a slightly loose, mine is extremely loose, and there's this question of whether or not they had this secondary spring ring that went around this inner bezel, and without it, it's pretty loose. I've seen with and without, and it's not clear what the right way is, to me at least. There's lots of transitions and things that had happened. This sort of level of looseness is not uncommon, and it really has to do with the thickness of the case and the height of the movement and the type of, you know, there's all sorts of details and weird stuff that you have to kind of take into account for that. Otherwise, condition quite good. You got a nice clean outer tacky ring. It looks like it's perhaps been replaced at some point. You can tell that from the way these are. They are very much a friction fit, and if you see this sort of chipping around the edge, it can mean that it has been pushed in, and that paint has, or that, you know, coating has sort of chipped away. It's not clear that that's the case, but that is indicative of a refit of a tacky ring. I'm going to go ahead and have a look at your movement. So I'm going to take off the bracelet and get you opened up, and we're going to have a look together. Be right back. Okay, we're back. So let's go ahead and get your case back off. All right, another red letter text. Okay, so nice 21 jewel 6139A, another of the same movement we saw in the other watch. This one has seen a little bit of water, as you can tell. Here you got a little rust, and just surface. Hopefully that'll just be the only rust we see. Rust is pervasive because water has, you know, high surface tension and gets on places it shouldn't get to by wicking in and getting places. There's some rust here on your retaining ring spring. You know, it's one of those things, we fight rust all the time. It's a problem with watches is that they have seals, and those seals do go bad over time. Yeah, again, hairspring, not too bad. This one's much better. I don't see any service marks, perhaps, in the back. It's been opened. Oh, no, there's a service mark. Don't know what that one is. Okay. Now it does, again, have that Seiko, original Seiko hand. Not the original Seiko hand, but a Seiko hand. So I presume either the person who serviced it changed the hand, maybe, or it went to Seiko service. It doesn't have a Seiko service center mark in the back. That's usually like a painted on mark, a kind of stencil stamp, if you will. All right, we're gonna fully power this one up, get it on the time grapher and have a quick look, and then we'll move forward from there. I'm gonna look at your cap jewel here to see if you've got some lubrication under your cap jewel, which is interesting. I don't know when it was serviced. It certainly has an incorrect gasket. That's not correct. I don't know what that number means. All right, we're gonna put it on time grapher and have a look. I suspect this one will have slightly better numbers, but we're gonna see. 1 second. Okay, Asmir. Well, this is a completely different story. This watch has certainly been serviced recently. It's running spectacularly well. I mean, it's probably at its peak in terms of performance. I would not service this watch. I would recommend that we change the crystal and perhaps put some seals in it. We'll check all the seals and make sure they're right. But yeah, I don't think this one needs a service. To be really honest about it, it's running perfectly. There's a little bit of adjustment, but otherwise it's spot on. I mean, this is clearly a good service, and this is what you want to see with one of these watches. So, you know, I would leave this one alone. I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to do anything you really want me to do, but if you were looking for a recommendation, I would say let's leave this one until it needs service and go on and put the time and invest in the other watch. So that's sort of where we are. Let's come back to the bench. We'll look at both watches. Okay, well, you've got a really nice pair of watches here. This is just a good, honest set of really clean early speed timers. A nice collection. This one's going to need some work. This one, you know, I'm happy to change out the crystal and do whatever you need in terms of seals, and that's a little bit of time because you have to deconstruct things. But you know, that's pretty easy. For this one, you know, I would say we're gonna be into a fairly deep service. It needs a lot. At least from first glance, it's going to need things. But, you know, it's a really honest, original watch. This is a great starting point for a great service. So I think that getting this one to the state of this one is going to be, you know, it's going to be what you want to do. I would say we leave this one alone, do a couple little cosmetics, and just, you know, be sure that it's sealed up and it's doing the right thing. But this one we should definitely deep dive. The crystal on this is actually pretty good. I'm not sure if you still want to change it, but I'm happy to do that, of course, too. And I mean, I take the case down apart and rebuild from scratch. So you know, we'll make sure that your new crystal that you did purchase goes in here. But this one's pretty good, actually. All right, so thanks so much, and I'll be in touch, and we'll get started. Okay, thanks, Asmir.